Hello, ladies and gents. This is something I apparently missed. The drone Iran just shot down. What? The drone Iran just shot down over Strait of Hormuz changes everything. Yeah. So Iran's Air Defense Command claimed Israeli orbiter. I'm like, American drone. I'm like, come on, no, Israeli drone. So Israeli orbiter reconnaissance. So spy drones was shot down, apparently, or at least that's what Iran claims. That wording tells me that it's not confirmed. Who knows? Okay, it could happen. Sure, why not? Drones are not that hard to shoot down, right? This happened a day ago or something. And then later on, the strike happened with US and mine-laying boats. Did something happen today? Who knows? Like, things are moving, I guess. Not intensely, but still moving. It's going to be interesting. Let's do this one.
2026, happy Memorial Day, everybody. So glad to be coming to you on Memorial Day, but you need to know this.
All right.
While diplomats are signing ceasefire frameworks for Iran, Iran just shot down a spy drone near the Strait of Hormuz over Hormuzan province, the province that controls the entire Strait of Hormuz, the exact waterway that they're promising to open yesterday. So let's let that land for a second. We're at the moment where the US and Iran are reportedly hours away from signing the most significant Middle East peace deal in modern history. President Trump himself called it largely negotiated, a 14-point memorandum of understanding that could reopen the world's most critical oil.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I'll believe it when I see it about the peace deal. I don't see that because the news has been coming out. We are very close. We are very close, and bombing happens. Bombing intensified. And for your information, after this, the bombing happened. After this, mine laying ships were destroyed by CENTCOM. After all this, so it's just like, yeah, I'll see. Like I have to actually see. Like, yeah, peace deal happened. Before that, like I don't believe any of this because it's just been intensifying. Iran point blank says now US will find no peace in Middle East. Like that doesn't sound like peace deal.
Choke point, 20% of the globe's energy flowing through that choke point, extending the ceasefire by 60 days, and then potentially setting the stage for something that sounds completely insane when you say it out loud, and that is Iran in the Abraham Accords. President Trump dropped that bombshell today on Truth Social alongside a demand that Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, and Bahrain all simultaneously sign on. And while that news was still ripping across every newsroom on Earth, Iran's Southeastern Air Defense Command was quietly recovering an Israeli orbiter reconnaissance drone from the waters off Bandar Abbas. Supposedly, these waters right here, as you can see, very contested area, but this is where Iran has focused their last domino, their stronghold, and then supposedly
What was Israeli drone doing here? Isn't this more for like US related things? What is Israel doing here? That's what I'm saying. Like US is already there.
supposedly today striking down an Israeli spy drone. This is not mixed messaging. This is a regime telling you that they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth, and that's their MO. That's how that they have always conducted themselves. So this is the shadow war that we see playing out. And is this just
come on, man. You can't really blame anyone try to shoot down a spy drone. Surprising part is they can do that, but apparently there you go. I guess they've never done that to US drone because it's about operation, isn't it? How you do it, which path you choose. US is better at that than Israelis are. But like US drones and US reconnaissance is already there. What is Israeli doing there? I don't know. I thought Israeli was more like around Tehran trying to target like key people. But US was about like destroying infrastructure. I don't know what's happening.
The canary in the coal mine of signs of things to come. We're going to break that down throughout this video, how that spy drone was actually shot down, and what could come of these negotiations. Will Iran actually join the Abraham Accords, or is there a snowball's chance in hell that they'll actually come to the negotiation table? And then stay for the global roundup about 3/4 of the way through the video. We're going to talk about the Lucas drone. That's America's $35,000 answer to Iran's own Shahed, and it just got a terrifying new AI brain upgrade. And then China's military is doing something wild in the Pacific.
Yeah, I saw that video from Sandbox. I don't know if I already posted it. I'm going to post after this. But yeah, that's insane, man.
right now while everyone's watching the Persian Gulf, and you got to know about that. And then before we go any further, just in memoriam, I want to read the names of the 6 crew that were killed in the KC-135 in Western Iraq. Among them were Major John A. Klinner, Captain Ariana G. Savino, Tech Sergeant Ashley B. Pruitt, Captain Seth R. Koval, Captain Curtis J. Angst, and Tech Sergeant Tyler H. Simmons. Each had served with distinction, embracing a mission whose importance reached far beyond their individual lives. They are the ones who allowed us to put Iran in check and show them that their extortion of the world doesn't go unanswered. And who knows, potentially setting up one of the most historic agreements in all of the Middle East history. So I want to say my hat's off to all of those that have served and sacrificed for Operation Epic Fury.
Yeah, this is during the tanker thing, when tanker went down. Yeah. Memorial Day is about like remembering fallen troops, right? Yeah.
Now let's dive in and let's build the operational picture, because what has happened over Hormuz on Iran is not a coincidence and you need to know about it. Here's the confirmed sequence of events from the last 24 hours, and it's all going to lead to that drone shoot down. So President Trump posts on Truth Social that the deal is largely negotiated, a memorandum of understanding covering a 60-day ceasefire extension, the demining and reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which is not a small job, obviously, sanctions relief, and Iranian oil exports to start flowing again.
You telling me after this thing, 24 hours didn't even pass, and they tried to lay mines there, and US destroyed these boats after this? Yeah, so US is literally like, yeah, we're close to the peace deal. We're going to demine it. It's happening. And Iran's like, you know what? I'm going to put more mines there. Really?
He said it would all be announced shortly. And then Sunday morning, Iranian Foreign Minister spokesperson Ismail Baghai confirms that Tehran has reached a conclusion on a large portion of the issues under discussion. So a little bit different than the rhetoric that we've been hearing from Iran, and that nuclear topics will be addressed during the 60-day window.
I've said this in the past. I'm going to say this again. How do you not know that Supreme Leader and his people are going to say, like, I don't care what that idiot on Twitter said, we didn't agree to this? Because that happened in the past about foreign minister. They literally said, I don't care what an idiot in Twitter said. We only gonna take order from supreme leader. So it's like, how do you know who you can negotiate with?
After the MOU is signed. And then Sunday, May 24th, same day, Iran's Southeastern Air Defense Command, based in Bandar Abbas, announced it had intercepted and destroyed Israeli orbiter reconnaissance drone over Hormuzan province. The wreckage was supposedly recovered from the water by Maritime Border Police. Those sneaky little Maritime Border Police, also known as the IRGC. They're like, we're just border police. We just care about our own province. No, you are the puppets of the Ayatollah and members of the IRGC. We all know that, so you don't need to tell us that you're border police. We all pretty much know at this point what you're up to. But Iran's military stated that the system used to engage the drone was capable of detecting radar-evading UAVs, okay, without disclosing which system fired on it. But the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, said they're not familiar with the incident, and they're not saying that any of their drones were shot down. Today, May 25th, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, speaking from New Delhi, told reporters the U.S. will give diplomacy every chance to succeed before the U.S. explores the alternatives, while repeating the non-negotiable terms: no nuclear weapons for Iran, no uranium stockpile, which we know the Ayatollah is basically saying, nope, we're keeping all uranium in Iran. Well, not the best negotiation position at this point when you have multiple supercarriers sitting at your doorstep. Rubio also said the Strait of Hormuz needs to open without tolls, and then Trump followed that up with that Truth Social post demanding the simultaneous Abraham Accord signing from 8 regional powers. Massive, floating Iran itself as a future member. So the context here, CENTCOM currently has 2 carrier strike groups in theater. Naval blockade has redirected.
What is Abrahamic Accord? Wait a minute, I need to Google that one. Oh, so diplomatic bridges between Israel and Arab nations. That makes sense, because a lot of Arab nations like UAE, Qatar, it's already pro-American, right? Not pro-American, they have good relationship with American. Whenever I say pro-American, people automatically assume like they're puppet of America. Just because you do business with a country and have a good relationship doesn't mean you're a puppet. It's like saying my friend is my puppet. No, that's your friend. So these are like allied countries to America. So it makes sense like they slowly become more economical, and diplomatical with Israel, right? Slowly it makes sense. And in future, even Iran is like listed, like if we can do it, even Iran, what about all the proxies? What about all the things they've been doing for multiple decades? Will IRGC ever do that? I'm skeptical, man, but that's the thing they're pointing towards. Maybe one day, Iran and Israel will have a diplomatic and economical relationship. Like, if that happens, like most of the Middle Eastern issue is gone. That would be a big thing Trump did, because it's more Trump thing. Apparently, nobody talks about it. Yeah, I just had to Google it. I never heard of this. But yeah, there's like a big shift since 2020, I think, that has been happening, where like the diplomatic relationship are being pushed. Like, let's do diplomatic thing, let's do economical thing. So it makes sense. So everybody cries like Trump already do wars. Trump only want to destroy Middle East. How about talk about this? Did Trump not do this? Is he not pushing for this? Come on.
Or disabled more than 62 commercial ships. The ceasefire has held, yes, it's held, while Iran has attacked UAE and other neighboring nations. So it's obviously teetering on the brink of not being a ceasefire. And they just shot down a drone, supposedly. So basically, it's a ceasefire at this point. But Iran is sitting on that Strait of Hormuz, and that is their biggest bargaining position, their biggest point of leverage yet. So if the conflict were to kick back off, that's why likely these spy drones from the US, from Israel, are likely doing what they do in that area. Also reports of the RQ-170, even the RQ-180, the advanced US stealth drones operating in the region, just trusting but verifying. Yeah, Iran, we totally trust that you're going to come to the table for the Abraham Accords, but we're just going to verify that. Yeah, that's always prudent with Iran. So to understand why Iran keeps shooting down while they're talking, you need to know exactly who they are and who we're dealing with and what it could mean.
America's like, trust. Have you ever, this capitalistic country is all about business. Trust. I don't trust my own father. What you talking about? It's business. That's what America would say. It just makes sense. Of course, you're going to verify.
If they do actually come in to the Abraham Accords. And so you guys know my boy Sun Tzu says, know your enemy, know the IRGC, know who they are, and know yourself. So Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, they're a parallel state apparatus. They've got their own Navy, Air Force, ground forces, intelligence services, basically the whole 9 yards. They have everything outside of the normal structure of society in Iran. And then the IRGC Aerospace Force controls Iran's drone and missile inventory, and also their anti-drone inventory as well, with their surface-to-air missiles, which at their last verified count included thousands of Shahed series one-way attack drones, Moaher reconnaissance variants, and an air defense network built around domestically produced systems after decades of US and Israeli sanctions cut off Western imports, because we know they had F-4s and F-14s. I have a little specific story about that, which I might get to one of these days, basically going up head-to-head with an F-4 or an F-14, not sure exactly what it was, while I was flying combat in Afghanistan, tasked to intercept one of those bad boys. But more on that in a later video. So the sponsor of this video, Cloaked, dared me to put my phone number into their site to see how exposed my information really is. And I wasn't ready for what came back. My social security number on...
Yeah, well, go to original video page link from there, support this channel. Was he F-22 pilot? Nah, he was like F-15, right? But there was a whole thing about F-4 versus F-22s happened, right?
Right now. The drone that was supposedly shot down near the Strait of Hormuz was the Israeli orbiter. It was over Hormuz, but that has not been officially identified or confirmed at this point. Iranian military authorities stated it was a specialized defense system capable of engaging radar-evading drones, language that points towards one of two candidates that they actually have in their country. The Majid, that's a domestically produced short-range air defense system that Iran first displayed in 2020, or a captured and reverse engineered weapons system. Iran has recovered multiple Israeli and American drones over the last decade, and they've documented this with a history of dissecting it and then supposedly reverse engineering weapons that can shoot it down, with Iran supposedly getting their hands on an RQ-170 advanced drone that landed in Iran years ago. They're saying they use that to actually create weapons that can shoot down these drones. So whether that's true or not, obviously Iran would love for that to be true. But when you think about what these actual drones are, these orbiter drones, RQ-170s, these advanced drones, they're small, they're quiet, and they're designed for persistent ISR over these contested areas. And we know that Iran has supposedly shot down dozens of MQ-9s. That's the claim. We haven't had those verified yet, but that wouldn't be too far of a stretch. But when it comes to these advanced drones like the RQ-170, some of the more radar evading drones, I don't really buy that Iran has the technology quite yet to shoot those down. They wish
I didn't even thought of that. That would make sense. These are very small one, very silent, 11 HP, radar evading. If you want to shoot this down, you need aerial things like helicopters, something like A-10 or any kind of plane, F-4s and things. Maybe they use that, but like how many of that left, right? Like they already didn't have much of them. US destroyed a lot of them. Maybe they used one of the jets that they still have. That would be easier to do. I don't know. But how did you detect it? And once you detect it, how did you pinpoint it? Like, yeah.
They did, they would love to, so more likely there could be a lost link type situation. And I've seen this in combat myself, where some of these drones go what's called lost link. I mean, drones aren't perfect. They're basically remote control aircraft on steroids. They use satellite links, other technology to keep them from going lost link. But there's been multiple instances that I've seen while flying F-15Es where these drones actually have to be shot down by our own fighters because they lose link and they don't have the ability to keep communicating with higher headquarters. Israelis.
Are you telling me these are just glorified RC planes? That's it, remote control drones? That kind of makes sense.
Cyber Operations Command is saying that Tehran is also stepping up cyber attacks across the globe right now. That's their number one thing. Cause chaos, cause disruptions. And on the drone front.
Where are they doing cyber attacks? Commercial space? In some IT infrastructure? Was there any news of attack? Because that's insane.
Now Iran is facing an adversary that is going to create persistent ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, watching every single move that Iran does. Basically the stage 5 clinger of drones.
Could you imagine if they somehow release some kind of a virus that like F's up a lot of Windows PCs? Because let's be honest, it's not that hard. It's Windows. Isn't it weird that 90+% of people uses Windows PC and Windows is not that secure? That would be kind of effed up, not gonna lie.
Drones.
Oh my god, don't ever leave me.
Ever.
Good. Because I'd find you.
Watching and making sure that during these negotiations that Iran says they want to be a part of, that they're actually coming to the table with something substantial, and they're not just rebuilding their mountain bunkers, their mountain hideouts, their golden palaces with golden crappers for the IRGC. Can you guys at least try to become somewhat of a normal country? That's kind of the position of the US and Israel. But when the IRGC says they shot down a drone, there's a few reasons why these drones might be. They're obviously watching Iran, making sure you know what they're doing, but the next big thing is seeing where the different mines are. So there's specialized drones that can detect mines underneath the surface of the water. And you've heard me talk before about underwater drones as well. So if you team up specialized drones like RQ-4s, the orbiter drone, RQ-170s, RQ-180s, with drones that can live and basically breathe underneath the water, basically sitting on the seabed, waiting to be activated by AI to go out and detect mines, now you're pinching that mine-laden area from both sides, from above, from the sky, and from underneath on the seabed. And that is the lamprey. That is an undersea leech that can detect these different mines and make sure once the Strait of Hormuz is officially opened by Iran, once they say, okay, we're not going to harass any cargo ships with our Mosquito fleet, well, okay, great, that's one thing, but they supposedly lost track of dozens of undersea mines, supposedly, even though that mined area just pushed all the ships right up next to their coast so they could charge their toll like a good mafia boss does. At this point, having those lamprey undersea leeches under the ocean.
Where you already have like JDAMs and many of the missiles, glide bombs, right? Which is like tuned to like work as like a mine laying, and I'm gonna guess like mine clearing as well, because if those missiles can lay mines, those missiles can also go inside the water and blow them up. So why you're not using things like that? Like the technology is insane when it comes to United States, right? Sometimes I'm genuinely wonder, do the commanders and people who actually control these arms, do they know what type of technology they have? Because it's too many, like you need to make an entire list of it. That's insane.
Ocean, just watching and making sure and enforcing that there's no mines in that area will help reassure different shipping companies to actually get ships moving through the Strait of Hormuz again. And just watching and making sure that the Iranian toll booth doesn't come back into play with Lavon Island, where Iran was driving all the ship traffic up next to, making sure they're not actually going to collect their $2 million tolls. Oh yeah, we'll let ships go through the Strait of Hormuz, no worries. We're just going to collect $2 million in tolls from each ship. But besides that, we're completely open for business. So we talked about the undersea drones, but the US answer to Iran's shadow drone war runs on two parallel tracks, denial and strike. And the most important weapon in the track right now costs less.
How do they collect $2 million? Do they ask for like Venmo or something? Or do they say like bring cash? Bring out the crate of cash that has 2 million, like here's a briefcase. How? Like it can't be digital, because like digital thing, United States can just block it, right? Like I'm guessing it must be like a cash. So they're gonna ask these ships to bring 2 million in cash every time. And how's that gonna, you just one day decided, okay, we need $2 million. Like this ship's already is there. What are they going to go back for the money? I don't know how that's going to work, man.
Than a pickup truck at this point, and that is the Lucas, the low-cost unmanned combat attack system built by Arizona-based Spectre Works. First confirmed combat use was February 28, 2026 during Operation Epic Fury. Price per unit $35,000, modeled directly on Iran's own Shahed 136, reverse-engineered, Americanized, and deployed against the country that invented the concept. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper called the Lucas, and I'm quoting here, indispensable. His own words on its origin. He said, we captured it, pulled the guts out, sent it back to America, put a little made in America on.
Yeah, I get it, Iran kind of came up with that, but is that 100% true though? Because that type of drone concept has always existed. Probably was made somewhere in like USA or something, that type of drone. But it just didn't have any explosive in it. Iran just figured out to putting explosive in it, and there you go. Now, obviously, there were some tweaks that make it slightly better with the Sahid drones. So, they had to like kind of reverse engineer it. But there's a reason why US could reverse engineer it like that, because they already know how it works, right? It's a drone. US knows these drones, but they just didn't have explosive in it. It's not like Iran made these drones, like invented these drones. No, it's just different application of it.
On it, brought it back here, and we're shooting it at the Iranians. That sentence belongs in a museum of warfare at this point. Now, as of May 24th, Lucas is getting an upgrade that changes its entire calculus.
Yeah.
Shield AI's HiveMind autonomy software supposedly going into the Lucas. Lucas drones were already dangerous as individually guided one-way attack munitions. With HiveMind, they become a coordinated swarm, multiple units sharing data, adapting to air defense responses, and overrunning point defenses.
Imagine one day you just hear, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm like, fuck. They shouldn't have give it AI like that. One day that's going to happen. Right now it's HiveMind because it, passes information. There'll be a day like, you know what, screw it, give it to AI. Make it completely controlled by AI. Here you go, 100 Lucas drones. They're all hive-minded and AI is controlling them. That's kind of dangerous if you think about it.
By sheer coordinated volume. This is what will likely be unleashed on these different islands in the Strait of Hormuz if the conflict does kick back off, with all of them basically targeting the different radar sites, antennas that actually track ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And that brings us to the global roundup. The story that I want to talk about today is China surging in the Pacific while everybody is eyeing the Persian Gulf. So China's PLA Navy conducted 2 major deployments in the South China Sea and West Pacific Pacific, timed directly to the ongoing Balkan 2026 exercises with the Philippines, basically flexing and trying to show the world that they are in control of that region in no uncertain terms, basically. The message is clear. Right now, America is focused on the Persian Gulf, and China is actively looking at the opportunity to surround Taiwan and learn more about the different islands surrounding Taiwan. That could be the stronghold, an actual point of launching should any conflict kick back off. And that brings us to the 40 chess strategic analysis section here. So at this point, a historic deal could be taking place with Iran if they're smart. I mean, if they actually have two brain cells, entering into a deal that makes them a little bit more of a normal country. Will their radical hardliners actually accept that? Well, it's all about preserving the regime. So if this deal actually helps to preserve the regime, then there's a chance they'll accept it. If they don't see it as something that'll preserve the regime, then they're going to just completely deny, tap along the world more and more and more, and then not actually make any progress. The 60 days of discussions that will be covered.
How do you preserve the regime when the red lines of USA is you can't have nukes and you can't have Strait of Hormuz? So what is left for Iran? At this point, USA came, whipped your ass, didn't give you anything, and walked away. How does regime survive after that? I don't know, man. I guess USA can just say like, okay, you know what? How about you shut up? How about I don't attack you? Just give up your nukes. Let's not even talk about Strait of Hormuz, and I'm gonna go. So I don't bomb you anymore. And the IRGC is like, okay, one day I'll recover, so fine. And like people, like IRGC still have control over people, obviously. And people don't revolt at that level. Maybe IRGC survives to fight one day, and they can see in their head like, yeah, I guess this makes sense. I don't know, man. I don't know how that works. So right now, only thing USA can give them is like, I'm not gonna attack you as a deal, which is, I don't know if that's gonna work or not, but who knows.
Covering the nuclear program in Iran are the perfect time for Iran to rebuild, or the perfect time for Iran to become a member of the Persian Gulf Coalition.
Yeah, Ibrahim, like, I don't know, like, is Iran gonna agree to that? Because again, what does it tell its own people? Like, okay, fine, I guess we are fine with Israel now. So what was it all for? So I don't know about that, man. Maybe they do eventually get at that point, but not right now.
That's being created potentially by these Abraham Accords signing, and it could be a move that actually brings Iran into the fold. But man, it's just wild to think about Iran actually doing something that could make them a normal country. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, we don't live in a place where people actually do things like that, where it goes back to normal, everybody makes money, everybody lives happily. Iran has money now because Iran is part of Israel-US economical group where everybody makes money. Everybody has a Lamborghini. No, that's not going to work. Yeah, we have to have nukes and we have to have bombs. That's the world we live in.
Comments below. Do you think that this agreement actually creates a sustaining peace in the Middle East, or do you think we're just going to be watching the shadow war play out from day to day?
Yeah.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic. We'll see, I guess. I don't know. I've yet to be ever get, like, I don't know how else to say that. I mean, not that I've never been wrong. It's like I've yet to be so wrong that I'm surprised at that level. I don't see that. I would be really surprised if like, okay, you know what, peace deal is here. The Iran is going to be part of Abrahamic, deal and everything. I don't see that. We'll see, I guess. Hopefully that happens. That's a rosy future. But yeah, I'm cynical, I guess. I don't know. All right, well, there you go. If you like my subscribe, and I'll see you next time.